Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast will have Sting in October exclusively on the WWE Network. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another edition of the Gentle Jerry channel. Let's get into it. Let's not waste any time. There has been a Stone Cold podcast on the WWE Network with Sting as Stone Cold's guest in October, reports the Wrestling Observer newsletter. There's no specific date given, but it's expected to take place at some point in October. Obviously Halloween, you have Sting, etc, etc. Austin's next podcast is scheduled for next Monday, September the 7th, with Edge and Christian. That'll be actually interesting to watch. It will air on the WWE Network following WWE Raw. Earlier this year, WWE said that Austin would have podcasts on the WWE Network with Hulk Hogan, Sting, and The Undertaker. The Hogan one was planned, but then he got fired by the WWE due to racist comments, and then replaced him with Paige, which the podcast wasn't all that great. There was no word on when or if there will be Austin's podcast on The Undertaker. Austin and Sting have a friendship going back to the early 90s when they were both in WCW together. They had several matches there, although Austin left in the mid-90s, and they haven't done anything together since then. Since Sting really hasn't done any in-depth in his career, he's going to be interesting to see what they discuss. They can talk about the early days of Sting's career, how things were like in WCW in its prime, when the decline of his company, and why it took Sting so long to get to the WWE. Will they even mention that Sting spent nearly a decade in TNA, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I just did a review on? Probably not. Other subject could be Sting's loss to Triple H at WrestleMania, because Austin has mentioned he did not agree with that decision. As always, plans can change, but for now, Sting and Austin to have an interesting discussion next month. Absolutely looking forward to this, ladies and gentlemen, because, a little sip of my coffee here. Oh, it tastes good. So, it's going to be interesting to see. Will they talk about TNA? I think there was a few problems that Vinnie Mac had problems with Stone Cold Steve Austin. First of all, the China thing, and second of all, mentioning TNA to Vince McMahon during the podcast. They want to avoid that. They don't want any more publicity to TNA. You know, like I said, Sting did spend over a decade in TNA. I think they should mention it, but it's WWE. They don't want TNA mentioned at all. So they could just talk about WCW, how Sting and Austin met. What does Sting think of the product so far? And obviously the Triple H thing. So I think it'll be a very good podcast. I think this is probably the only podcast I've been interested in apart from the Vinnie Mac and Triple H podcast. But it's going to be interesting to see what Sting says and what, you know, he never really does these type of things, so it'll be pretty interesting to see. But ladies and gentlemen, this is Gentle Jerry. If you want any more news on the podcast, I will let you guys know ASAP. Also, I've done a TNA review, which is available right now. Anyway, guys, this is Gentle Jerry on the Gentle Jerry channel, signing out. Hi guys, if you enjoyed this WWE news, make sure to take that time to subscribe to the Gentle Jerry channel. I cover all aspects of WWE backstage news. I also do reactions as well as reviews and live coverage of the pay-per-view. So, if you want all that in your subscription box, all you gotta do is subscribe to the Gentle Jerry channel. Oh, hell yeah!